Hi everyone and welcome to another Modify video. This one is on my best audio and hi-fi bargains of 2023. Okay, I'm a bit late, let's call it 2023-24. My top 5 if you like. These have all offered a noticeable improvement in sound quality for relatively little outlay. And all of them have turned out to be really awesome products. Ready? Let's go. So first up is a kitchen chopping board. Here we go. It's the Ikea Aptic Lig. Guess where you buy this? Yeah, it's Ikea. Now this is made of bamboo, which seems to be really fashionable in hi-fi racks at the moment. And I guess it's a perennial favourite in the audiophile community. It's often used on sideboards and tables rather than on dedicated hi-fi racks like these behind me. So which came first, the Aptic Lig or the bamboo shells in your audio rack? If you know, comment below. Put it under your turntable or any equipment with tubes and valves, and it will reduce microphonic effects on the tubes, and therefore what you hear has become less glaring. The sound will become clearer and there's less smearing or ringing. Solid state kit also benefits. Other electronic components like capacitors can be microphonic too. If you're like me and have glass equipment shelves, it makes quite the difference. I've had these Atacama Equinox racks for quite a long time. Adding Aptic Lig has been a really cost-effective upgrade in comparison to buying a whole new rack. So Aptic Ligs were £15 each, but checking the site, the IKEA site before recording, I see they've been reduced to £12 each here in the UK, an even bigger bargain. Combine that with some squash balls or sorbothane feet, or more recently I've tried these moon gel pads from Artom. They work really well. They're only £9. And that combination, you've got a really cheap but effective isolation platform that I think also looks pretty cool. Number 4, yeah. Tricky topic this one. The first of my top 5 of 2 that will split everyone down the middle. Okay, here we go. As the value-based high-end modifier that I am, I do have a few Townsend iSolder DCT interconnects. If buying them used, they're actually really good value. These are the most transparent sounding audiophile cable that I've yet heard. I'm sure there's something better out there, but for the money, they're difficult to beat. So I wondered if I could do anything else to improve on them cost effectively. I did a number of clone experiments, and I may do a video on that one day. But as you know with me by now, I've got a lot going on, that may not be one day soon. But I actually wanted to see if the connectors used made as much difference as the cables do. Well, yes they do, and I knew that from previous cable upgrades. With these clay copper harmonies though, I was frankly surprised. Cleaner sounding, less grain, with more top end without being fatiguing. In some ways, maybe a bigger difference than the cable itself. And at £66, less money than many a budget cable these days. Get yourself a good used interconnect and whack these clay copper harmonies on and see what you make of them. Comment below if you've tried the clays before and what you found. But I think they're definitely worth checking out. Number 3. Op-amps are bad. Equipment made with discrete components, so individual transistors, sound way better. That's what many would have you believe. Is it true? Well, yes and no. Some discrete designs are superb, but there are also some very good sounding pieces of kit built with op-amps. Except you may not know it, because the manufacturer has cheaped out on the actual op-amp used, or has tried to meet certain specifications on paper to the detriment of sound quality. That happens way too much. What if there was a replacement device made of discrete components that also sounded good too? They exist from Verum and a small number of others, but here I'm going to talk about the Sparkos. I've not tried the others, but I've used Sparkos with significant improvement both in the TriVista 21 DAC and my own preamp. As a drop-in replacement to some of the better monolithic op-amps out there, think along the lines of the Texas Instruments LM4562 or the Verum OPA2134, expect to hear improved clarity and more detail. Enough said, really. For equipment that has maybe the venerable NE5532, the difference is obviously much, much, much greater. The 4562 alone is a big step up from a 5532 already, which introduces soundstage width and depth that you just can't get from a 5532. So this might blow your mind. At $80 for a dual channel device, they're not cheap in comparison to monolithic op-amps, so I wouldn't randomly change out any old op-amp for these, but if the equipment is decent and the upgrade is thought through, they're worth it. Really worth it. Number 2. Glasses off. This is the OAID FTVS-510. The cable itself retails for around £100 per metre here in the UK, plus whatever connectors you choose. These CMCs are around £27 again here in the UK. The OAID has a solid core, 5 nines pure silver central conductor with 3 screening layers, one of which is a carbon semiconductor layer for static electricity removal. You can read their blurb if you want more detail. I'll link to that below. Now, there are any number of people who will poo-poo the effects of cable in hi-fi, as we discussed before, but especially digital cables. It's just bits after all. But the thing to remember is that it's the noise that comes along with the signal that pollutes your DAC. And it's that electrical noise which masks low-level details. With this in place, I hear textural nuance that I couldn't hear before. It's one of those things that some would see as a subtle change in sound reproduction, and maybe they would dismiss it because of that. But listen for a little bit longer, and you soon realize that there are what you might call micro details that just makes everything sound that bit more realistic and authentic. Playing Lorena McKennett's Tango to Evora is one of my favourite demo songs, so I'm very familiar with it. So it didn't take me long to stop and go, oh, that's new. A newfound airiness and improved saturation. But again, it's that extra texture that it gives that adds life to the music. A bit more decay perhaps. I found the violin just carved its space better, and you could track its small movements more readily. Now, I'm not saying buying this will transform a system at any level, far from it. I would only apply this on the input of a really good DAC. But if you have a resolving system that doesn't have super duper galvanic isolation on the digital SPDIF coax input, then this might really improve detail retrieval for you. Okay, finally, number 1. The Verum one, in fact. This is the Verum 1 headphone. Now, these are open back, they are planar magnetic, and they're handmade. Reviewers and music professionals alike have compared them favourably against the Odyssey LCD2s, all of which might immediately make you think that they would be expensive. The Odysseys retail at around $1,000 after all. The Verums, okay, you ready? Prepare yourself. $350. What? How? One Ukrainian designed these, and I think set up a Kickstarter fund to produce the first batch. That was a couple of years before the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Despite the sad ongoing war Igor is making these and sending them out around the world. I'd seen the reviews and thought so many people from so many different sources can't possibly be wrong about them. Could they? Well, they're not wrong. These are fantastic. I ordered mine in January 2023, and at that time there was an order backlog. Can't imagine why. I took delivery of them in late May or early June, so about a 6-month wait. Was that wait worth it? Yes. 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 They're well made with a leather headband and ear pads, and they feel reasonably light on the head. They are definitely comfortable. So comfortable, they look good, and they sound fantastic. I would say sonically they're natural and detailed, pretty transparent, with no bloat or overemphasis of any frequencies. Maybe it's a little down at the lower end, but overall well balanced. They are revealing, and they will release detail if it's there in the music. But they don't punish those recordings that aren't quite so good. You can get fully into anything on these and enjoy it. I've at times found myself wearing them all day at the office with no fatigue. Just hearing things that I've never heard on headphones before, only on my main system. To get that at this price, $350, is impressive. So okay, what are the downsides? Other than the long wait, I don't know what the current lead time is on these. But other than that, it doesn't come with a carry case. So all you get is these headphones and the connecting cable. I think these are probably the best bang for buck headphones you can buy right now. So if you're looking for a headphone to use at home where you don't need to worry about disturbing others, they are open back, so sound does come out the back too, then look no further. So those are my top 5 buys from 2023/early 24. So these are relatively inexpensive items that give more than their value in the performance that you get back. If you've stayed to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Feel free to check out some of the other content I have here. There is more to come soon. As I said in my last video, I am planning to pivot a bit this year, and I'll be doing more on YouTube, as well as some product announcements coming soon. So watch this space, please subscribe, and you'll see me next time. Bye.